What's up, guys? This is Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with SPY, Tesla, and the broader markets. I'm also going to talk about whether or not the market's about to make a bottom and what to watch for as time goes on. Just know that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I'm saying as financial advice whatsoever. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Moomoo link that's down below or use my QR code right here to sign up. If you sign up for Moomoo with the link down below and deposit $100, you're going to get $20 for free Nvda stock. If you deposit $2,000, you're going to get $50 worth of the stock. Deposits $10,000 to get $300 worth, and deposit $50,000 to get $1,000 of free Nvidia. You're also going to qualify for a 3.6% APY base rate plus a 4.5% APY extra for 3 months, making it a total of an 8.1% APY. The offer ends very soon, so please check out my link down below. Anyways, now let's talk about what's happening with the market. So right now, I know a lot of people are experiencing internet issues due to an internal outage that's going on, and this is very, very important because it could be affecting, a lot of different people. It may be affecting some brokerages. We'll see if brokerages are affected by this. So be careful, guys, in case your internet is down. I hope things get back to normal very, very soon. For me, I did have some issues with certain websites, but I did find certain websites are working, and I just wanted to show the ones that are working. And it does limit my ability to show more things, at least for now. But anyways, I'm just going to use what I have for the time being. So as far as the market's going, it's quite simple. If SPY could break 665, we're looking for a bounce back up to 668. But if SPY loses 660, there's going to be a risk of us continuing to dump right back down towards some of the levels we saw from last month in October. So 660 is a vital support for SPY, and we're going to see if it holds or not. Now, for today, there's not really a whole lot of data that has been coming out. We did get initial jobless claims data. However, I think this data just had come out. And what's happening is this was basically below expectations. Continuing jobless claims was also very close to expectations, a little bit above the consensus, but below the forecast. And besides that, the jobless claims 4-week average has been a little bit below expectations, so not too bad. So I think that we're starting to see some more data coming out slowly, and we're going to give this some time, at least for now. Besides that, it's not as impactful for the markets. Heading into tomorrow, we have like the FOMC minutes, but there's not really much else coming out, at least for today. We have minor factory order data for now. Also know there's about a 48.6% chance we get a cut, at least for now, according to our sources. There's not really a whole lot else coming out. Besides that, there are also headlines coming out that Wall Street is taking some risk off the table ahead of the earnings reports and ahead of some economic data that's finally coming out this week. But we're going to see if the market forms some kind of bottom or not. Besides that, I'm not seeing anything else that's too crazy on the news. The Federal Reserve, however, they were being very, very cautious because of the lack of data. And they mentioned we have to be going over things on a meeting over meeting basis. So as data starts to come out, we should be looking for more volatility. Last but not least, I just want to mention that we had the Home Depot, which missed earnings at least today. And then tomorrow we have Target, TJ Maxx, Lowe's in the morning, and then Nvda after market close, which is going to be a big one. So what do I see for the charts right now? It's quite simple. SPY is in our range, as you guys can see. We ended up dumping towards 660, and that's our critical support. If 660 fails us, we could be dipping towards 658 or below for some more downside. But if you want to be bullish, we need to get back above 665. If we break 665, I think we could be looking for 668 or above. So watch that range between 665 and 660, and we're going to see which way we end up breaking as time goes on. Do we break to the upside or the downside? So we will see, at least for now. So watch this very, very closely, and we'll see if we end up losing support or not, but we're still in the middle, at least for the time being. So we're stuck between 660 and 665. We are at this critical level. And I think that one of the theories I have is there's going to be a bounce coming soon, but I don't know if we're going to be holding 660 or not. If we hold 660, we should be looking for a bounce. But if we dip below it, we could be bouncing closer to the levels we saw in October. But I do think that there's a good chance of some kind of bounce if 660 holds, and we're going to be looking for 665 again. If 660 breaks, we could be dipping quite a bit lower before we get some kind of bounce. So hopefully 660 holds as the market's going to gap down. On the QQQ, we have something very similar going on near 598. If 598 fails us, we could be dipping towards like 594 or below. And if we're bullish, you want to see us get back above 605. If 605 breaks, we could be looking for a big push to 610. We're in the middle right now. We're going to see if 598 holds. If it does, we could be looking for like 603 to 605. And then we're going to see if we could kind of like bounce like this. I do favor some kind of bounce move if we hold 598. If 598 breaks, though, we could be dipping a lot more before we get the bounce closer to like 590. So watch your levels just to be safe. Hopefully 590 holds and we get some kind of rebound and we start pushing back up to 603 to 605. On the IWM, we're technically on a downtrend. We do have support down here around this 230 area, and we're going to see if we bounce or not. So we have 229 to 230 is our support. If we bounce here, we're looking for 233. But if we lose this, we could be dipping back down towards 228. But for now, we're going to see if we bounce near 229 or not. And if we do, we could be looking for a retest of 233. On ES, we came down to about 66.40. Now, the question is, do we lose this low? If we take out this low, ES could revisit these lows from October. We're actually not that far away from them. And then I do think there's going to be like a big bounce coming once we basically touch those levels like this. Or if we don't break support here, we could just bounce from here and we're looking for a big bounce. So it depends. Can we hold 66.40 on ES? If we hold that, we're looking for a big bounce to 6,700. But if we lose this, we could be looking for a dip back down towards 65.80 or so. Either way, I think that we're near a bottom, but I need to see where we end up forming the bottom officially. We're close. Either the low from right here is the bottom, or we dip another, 50 or so points on ES and we retest these October areas, and then we get a big bounce. But I think that we're nearing a bottom. On NQ, we're technically on a downtrend. We're going to see if we hold support right here at 24,600. If we don't, then these lows around 24,400 could be tested. I believe that between 24,600 and 24,400, that's where the bottom is likely going to be. And then we're going to see if we get some kind of bounce off this. Bitcoin is technically on a downtrend, but then we're going to see if we could reclaim 93,800 or not to see a big bounce. So watch that very closely. Tesla's coming down right here, but like I said before, we're still in this channel, going back and forth between supply and demand. And we're going to see if we continue to fall back down towards 400. If 400 does not hold, we could be looking for like the 390s. And then we're going to see if this channel eventually gets a breakout, forming a flag. I think Tesla will eventually break out, but for now, we're trading sideways in this, and there is going to be a risk of us dipping towards 400. On Nvda, we're technically on a downtrend unless we get back above 188. We're favoring a dip towards 181 before earnings. We are seeing investors getting risk off before Nvidia's earnings. Appl is in the middle. It's looking for a test of 270. If that breaks, we could be looking for 272 again. Might push for 270. Then we're going to see if we bounce or not, if we get a rejection. So watch that very closely. For Netflix, we could pop here and start dipping back down to 107. So be very careful. On AMD, we're technically looking more bearish, favoring a move back down to 230 flat. Coinbase is trying to base at 258. If that fails us, we could be tipping to 255 and 250. But if this holds, we could be looking for a bounce very, very soon. On Amazon, we're technically on a downtrend. We're going to see if we end up losing 225. If that fails us, we're going to be looking more bearish, looking for 222. But we also have this resistance at 231, so we're in the middle. It does look like it might attempt to bounce for 231 if we could hold 228. So there's a chance Amazon bounces for 231. After we gap down, we try to fill this gap. Meta looks kind of weak here. Could be dipping towards like 590, then 585, and we'll see if we bounce. But there's a little bit of downside potential. Google's trying to hold support here where these EMAs are looking for an attempt for 294. And then Microsoft is dipping right here. We could be dipping back down towards 495. And we'll see if we bounce. But there is still some downside risk. The VIX has gapped up. Are we about to be forming a top? It's possible it goes a couple of points higher, but I do think the VIX is about to form a top soon. And then we're going to be looking for a big drop in the VIX as the market forms its final bottom. So we're going to see if 660 holds. I think as long as 660 holds, we're looking for a bounce to 665 and 668. But if 660 fails in SPY, of course, there's going to be more downside risk. So make sure you watch your levels just to be safe. That's what I'm essentially seeing. And on top of this, I want to add on for the QQQ. If we end up losing 598, there's going to be a risk of more downside for the lower 590s. Hopefully, we hold support. As long as 598 holds, I do expect a bounce to like 603 and 605. So we'll see how it goes. Anyways, that's it for my video. Thank you all so much for listening. Please enjoy the rest of your guys' days, and we'll see what happens as time goes on. So far, the market's holding up decently, but watch your levels, and we'll see what happens. Thanks again, guys, and peace out.